Hello, guys. Good evening. I hope all of you are having a lovely evening. And thank you so much for being here. Today, you would get to learn how to start your time with Power BI from an expert from Microsoft itself. Soon, we would welcome her and we'll start. And we would try and answer most of your questions. But before I go on with that, I'll give myself a little introduction. My name is Ikshit Jaiswal. You can refer to me as IJ. I'm a data enthusiast myself, just like all of you here. I am a trainer here at Coding Invaders. I've done 1,000+ academic IT consultations already, right? Now, while I give this out to you, let's get to know a little about you. Why don't you tell me where are you from and how old are you? And definitely, what language is comfortable for you? So you would see a poll right on your chat box, right, wherein you can talk about what languages are comfortable for you, and we'll try and schedule things, plan things accordingly. Hi Sonal, hi Praveen, hi Paramjot, hi Devraj, hi Amir, hi Vendel, hi Simran. Guys, why are we doing this webinar? Here, we would give you an introduction on how to use Power BI. There's no prerequisite to this webinar. We'll start from pretty scratch. But before that, let's talk about the data analysis course here at Coding Invaders. This is an 80% practice based course wherein you will work on 1,500 plus assignments, 10 real projects. You'll have one on one mentor sessions, and you have a dedicated career center. Our present record stands at 93% of placement in amazing companies to work. Hi, guys. So good to see all of you here. Right? And there's this for people who have found time today. There's this very special, fee structure for people here. Normally, which is around normally the fees is around 11,500 rupees a month. But for people attending, there's this special offer wherein the fees is 7,490 rupees a month. So you would find the link right on your chat box. Please go ahead and register so that you can talk to us one on one. Right? I know you'll have a lot of queries. Let's take it up. It's a 24-hour only kind of offer. Use it. Hi Laila. Hi Mohammed. Okay, so a lot of people in 20 to 30 age group. That's amazing. So you would get a chance to win a free course for sure. So before I move on to talking about the free course, let me talk about Coding Invaders a little. Coding Invaders is the largest online platform. We are initially based out of Central Europe. We are the largest online university there. We have trained 22,000 plus students so far, right? We are on board with 100 plus companies for their internal upskilling purposes. We have a student base of more than 40 plus countries, right? And our hike rate stands between 30% to 400% currently, right? Now, guys, why don't you tell me, why did you come to the webinar today? Yes, you would get a certificate out of this. So you're just here to listen to the webinar. You want to study and take a look at the courses. You're already studying, or maybe you're already studying and just want to expand your own horizons. Of course, who would not want to hear from a Microsoft expert talking about Power BI? Yes, there you will get a certificate. Okay, Janet, you want to learn Power BI? That's amazing. That's amazing. Yes, Prashad, we'll start it off in the next 2 minutes, 2 to 3 minutes for sure. Right, Guys, I'll keep it to the minimum level of English so that all of us can understand why English, because that forms a common medium of discussion even while you are appearing for your interviews. Oh, a lot of people here to learn Power BI. That's amazing. So, guys, what will you actually learn today? So, today you would get to understand as to why, what is, Microsoft Power BI, and why so many data analysts are using it on a daily basis. What Power BI dashboard does a business need on an everyday basis? So, as of today, any business that works, any business, any business for that matter, is basically using a lot of Power BI and dashboards to visualize every all their numbers and make better business decisions, right? And the best part, you can go from scratch and learn to make your first Power BI dashboard in the first 30 minutes. Yes, that's correct. From scratch, you learn to make it in the first 30 minutes only. And now this amazing chance, just like I promised you, you find this particular link on the chat box. Please go ahead and register. One amongst you who stays to the end gets a chance to win a completely free course into our job guarantee batch. Completely free of cost. Guys, quickly register. You'll find the link right there on the chat box. And yes, this is a completely free course, no fees taken up. You get this chance into our job guarantee batch starting next week. Right? Guys, we'll keep it short. Register yourselves quickly. Register yourselves quickly. The faster you register, the better the chances of your winning. You see the link right there on the bio. Amit will go ahead and start with it right away. You'll find the link on the chat box. You'll find the link on the chat box. Guys, oh, that's amazing. A lot of you have already registered. So, guys, while you're registering and without taking much of your time, right? Let's meet Shailja here. Hi, Shailja. Good evening. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. Thank you for having me here again.
It's always good to have you. We get to learn a lot, and we look forward to do that. So, Shailja, if I understand, we'll basically start. I'll not take much of your time. I'll not do the explanation. I would want you to take it up and explain people as to how did you start, where are you working currently, what does it feel like, and what does the day look like.
Okay, sure. So, talking about myself, a bit background of me. I come from a small town of Uttar Pradesh. I did my schooling from Lucknow, after which I could not clear any tier one, tier like IIT, NIT kind of college. So, I went into a tier two college. There, I got graduated in computer science. I did BTech in computer science. After which I joined fractal analytics as a data engineer. And after that, I changed into a data scientist at Microsoft. So that's quite kind of a journey from my BTech to data scientist at Microsoft.
So, so you basically break that convention that to be able to reach Microsoft, you need to be from some IITs, and that's the only way. That's not it, right?
At least that's not for me. So yeah, I can say that.
Okay, so it should not be for a lot of people. That's great. So, so when you say you took up data science, sorry, you took up computer science as a topic here at college, how did you arrive at data science as a field of specialization? I mean, there were so many options that you had. What brought you here?
That's a very nice question. And why I said that is when you're doing, specifically when you're doing engineering, so in college, this is at our time specifically, data science was not one of the most talked topic.
Correct.
Mostly when you are doing computer science, you are expected to become a software engineer, and
Uh-huh.
that is the most talked role in colleges. But I would say I was lucky because I did not had much interest in Java and basically towards software engineering domain. And then I got there was a mentor at my college
Mhm.
who's the one who got me into this domain and
Okay.
actually made me understand what exactly is data domain and created a path for me, which I followed and I got here.
That is amazing. So if I tend to understand, so it's more like me being a kid in the candy world when I get to talk to a data scientist from Microsoft. So what does a day look like, Shailja, for you? I mean, what is it like for you? I mean, what how do you start your day, and what are the kind of problems that you face, and what do you solve?
So again, this is a very kind of a question that everyone has for people who are outside of the industry. But yeah, just
Uh-huh.
one thing: we are not robots. We are not just working, working, working. How it is showed in movies and everything.
Uh-huh.
But
Uh-huh.
yeah,
Okay.
typical life or typical kind of problems we solve in our day-to-day life as a data scientist is basically that depends on the company you're working on. That maybe depends on the project you're working on. But overall,
Okay.
the I would say we contribute towards very important decision making of the company, which are
Mhm.
totally directly reflected in the revenue they generate.
Oh,
So
okay.
just telling that thing just to emphasize how important the work is and how much difference it can create in terms of
Uh-huh.
total revenue a company generates.
Got it. Got it. So if let's say out of the people out of all the learners who are here to listen to you today, if someone wants to take up a data science and they're not from a computer science background, what are the ideal personas who should actually take up data science or data analysis as learning?
I would say there is no ideal persona. I
Uh-huh.
think that if anyone is interested to make a
Hmm.
change and if anyone is interested in understanding the concepts of data, data domain is something which is very much welcoming. So you
Okay.
don't need to have a specific background, you don't need to come out from a specific college. So all
Hmm.
of these restrictions which we and kind of society puts on us that we cannot do or we cannot go into a particular domain just because of
Okay.
all of these. So when
Okay.
I talk about data domain, my idea is for the audience here, if you are interested and if you know what exactly data domain has to offer and you think you can align with that, data domain is surely there to welcome you there.
So that's it. That's all that you require. You require a will to be there. Amazing.
Correct.
Shelja, not taking much of your time and looking at all the the suggestions and the comments, not take much of your time and let you take over and teach us how to create a dashboard in the first next 30 minutes. Thank you.
Okay, sure. Okay, so I'll move forward. Okay. Before even jumping to what is like how do we create a dashboard using a Power BI, I just wanted to talk a bit about Power BI. What exactly is Microsoft Power BI? Because of all the audience that is there, I just want to tell you guys that if you're here and if you're spending your half an hour into learning something, you should understand firstly why we need to learn that. So Power BI, I would say, is a software which is developed by the company I work in. It's a Microsoft product. And why do we use it? And why do data analysts use it? I'll not give you a very typical definition, but let me give you an example. That whenever we are shown some data as in rows and columns and big Excel sheets and everything, that is one way of showing the data. Another way of showing the data is using pictures, using graphs, and using trend charts and all of these. So, if you, as a person who is not even from an IT background, if you are shown these two data, which of these will you be able to understand better? I think an obvious answer is through pictures. We all know that picture speaks 1,000 words, and that is why we come to the concept of data visualization and these tools like Power BI and Tableau, which helps us to do these visualizations using different tools. And the work of a data analyst is basically to understand the data, to analyze the data, and to present those in the form of visuals. So that is where Microsoft Power BI comes in. You don't need to write 100 lines of code or you don't need to do a lot of stuff to create a dashboard. And that you will see in just next 5-10 minutes when I show you this, that how easily just by using some drag and drops you'll be able to create such a nice dashboard which will help you to demonstrate any kind of information you have in the form of visuals. So that is what Power BI is. Okay. Now, I already mentioned why do we need Power BI. Just here are the few points which talks about that. First, very important feature of Power BI is that Power BI you can get any data from any different sources. Data can be residing in different files, different CSVs, maybe at cloud, maybe in different databases. So anywhere your data is residing, you can connect Power BI to any of these data sources. So that is the first and important feature of Power BI. Second is After connecting the data, you can find very lot of information, hidden trends between inside the data that is there. Again, how? Using Power BI. Thirdly, now you have the data. Now you understand the data. What else you can do using Power BI is now you can create charts. You can add a lot of filters. You can do a lot of drag and drop and beautify the dashboard. And how? Just by clicking here and there, and you that will be done. You don't need to write a very big line of code for doing that. And lastly, this dashboard that we create, it gets automatically updated. If suppose my data is getting updated, I just refresh my dashboard and automatically my dashboard also get updated with the new data. So these are just a handful of good features of Power BI, but overall Power BI has so many good features to offer. That is why everyone wants to learn Power BI, and I guess all of you are here to learn Power BI. Okay, now if I talk about how do we create a dashboard or how do we use Power BI to just create these visuals which we are talking about. So you might have heard, and if not, let me tell you the concept of ETL. This is a very common terminology in data domain. When we say ETL, it is basically extracting data, transforming the data, and then finally loading the data. So that's the same thing you can do using Power BI also. First thing is you would want to extract the data. That is, you want to import the data. So we can get the data from different sources. I'll show you this. Second thing is now you would want to do a lot of transformations in the data. Again, you can do that using Power BI. And lastly, you would want to load that data so that you can get some meaningful information out of it. Again, you can do that using Power BI. So the overall process of ETL, which every data domain person has to do, you can do that directly using some tools of Power BI itself. So this is a very simple three-step process to create a dashboard. And I will show you how. Okay. Before starting, just one question, and I have heard this question in the same webinar from so many people. That is why I'm addressing this question. That dashboard is a common terminology. Dashboard can differ from company to company and from use case to use case. Like, for example, there can be a sales dashboard. What that dashboard will show? It will show you what are the products, when did we sell that, which product sold more, which product sold less. So overall, if you're dealing with any kind of sales data, you'll have a sales dashboard. Second can be a financial dashboard that talks about profit and losses, that talks about earnings, revenue, and all of these. So a company can have a different dashboard which talks about its finances. Third can be marketing. Marketing dashboard is like there are a lot of campaigns going on, there are a lot of channels, how much any campaign is bringing in clients, and all of these data can be showed on marketing dashboard. Similarly, there can be many other dashboards. But the point is, the concept of Power BI remains same. The concept of dashboarding remains same. Whatever is your data, on the basis of that data, you can create dashboards, and that we call as sales or financial or marketing and etc. etc. So you don't need to get confused between what are these different dashboards. Dashboard is a general concept where we create different visuals using different kind of data that we have, and whatever is the type of data, that type of dashboard it becomes. Okay. So I think there has been a lot of theory. I don't want to bore all of you. So maybe I'll just share my screen and let's get started on what exactly is Power BI. Okay. Is my screen visible to all of you? Just one
Yes,
yes.
Shailja, it is definitely.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much for the confirmation. Okay. So before starting on to anything, if you are someone who doesn't know what is Power BI, and I come one random day and tell you I will teach you Power BI. So for you to learn Power BI, you should know what exactly is Power BI. You should have Power BI. So how do you get Power BI? So this thing, like I already told you, Power BI is a tool that is developed by Microsoft. If you want to install Power BI, you can directly go to Power BI official website, and there you can see that you can download. There is an option. I'm not downloading because I already have it, but you can go ahead and you can directly say that Microsoft Power BI desktop, and you can download the desktop application for Microsoft Power BI. So this is one thing I wanted to show you all, so that you are aware that okay, I can also do this thing. It is not a software that only I have. This is something you can go and you can download and you can start creating small dashboards of your own. Okay, now coming back to what we learned today. So let me show you the data I have. I have prepared a data for all of you, and this is the data we'll be visualizing in our dashboard. Okay. Before even going into any details of this data, if you are someone, if I show you this data and ask you 5 random questions, will you be able to answer me anything? If someone asks me, maybe I'll not be able to answer anything, because this is a very big sheet of data and I have a lot of data in form of rows and columns, and I may be not able to understand this data fully. So what I'm doing is, since I'm not able to understand this data directly using Excel, so for my convenience, I will pull this data into Power BI and then try to understand what exactly is this data. So basically, this data is about a company's financial report. You would see segment, country, product, and different data is there. And this is what my data looks like. Now let me show you how we bring in this data in Power BI and how we create visuals using the same data, and you yourself will be able to answer so many questions which now no one can answer. Okay. Now, let me go to the Power BI. I've just opened this thing. Once you download Power BI desktop application and you open it, this is the opening screen of Power BI desktop application. There's so many things on this. You just don't need to worry about that. Let's take it step by step. First thing I told you, right? That first thing that you have to do when you're creating a dashboard is to get the data. And what we mean by getting the data is you have to import the data into your Power BI application. Until you have the data, you cannot do anything, right? So how do we do that? So here, if you can see, there is a icon called Get Data. This is where we can get all the data that we have. Now, if I show you what are the different types of data we can get, you will see Excel, Power BI datasets, data flows, Dataverse, SQL Server, CSVs, web, and even more. Now, let me show you what are the more different options we can choose. Okay, sometimes it takes time. Okay, now you would see that there are so many different options. If I go to file, all types of file formats I can import. If I go to the databases, all the different databases I can directly connect using Power BI. If I want to connect with Power Platform, if I want to connect with Azure Cloud, and if I want to connect with any other online database which can have my data, I can go here and directly say connect, and I'll get the data from there. So this is the beauty of Power BI, that you don't need to worry that if my data is residing somewhere, how will I get that data into my Power BI, and how will the import work? Power BI will take care of it. So this is what I wanted to show you all. Let's, in our case, I already showed you what our data looks like. What is our data? It's an Excel. So I'll go here, I'll say Excel workbook. Also, there is a direct icon for Excel. I can directly say that get my data from Excel. So this is the financial sample report I just showed you all. I'll just import this data into my Power BI desktop. Now, once this data gets imported, you will see this. And what exactly is this? This is a preview of the data that you have. You can see if your Excel has n number of sheets, it will show all the sheets here. Now, I'll say financials. What are you seeing here is a preview of the data that you have. You can directly see that, okay, this is what my data look like. The Power BI has worked fine. It has got the right data for me. Okay. Now, once I see the data, I have two options. I can directly go ahead and say load, or I can say transform the data. Let me tell you, you already understand when I say load, it will bring the data here. But when I say transform the data, I want to say that this is my data. Before bringing into Power BI, do a slight bit of change in the data. Now, let me show you how we do transformation. I clicked on transformation, and what happened here is it has opened a Power Query editor. Now, this is what my data looks like. Let's suppose I say that there is a column called units sold, and I see there are different decimal values in this. I'm just showing you what all you can do. It's not a mandatory thing, just showing you that Power BI has so many good features. Now let's say units sold, I want to convert. This is a decimal number. If you see here, I'll say I'll convert into a whole number. I'll say replace the current column. That's it. Earlier, this column unit sold was having decimal values. I just went ahead and changed the data type. I can do anything. I'll go here. This is a segment column. I don't like it in this way. I'll say just change the type, or I'll say transform into uppercase. It has now converted all the values in that column into uppercase. So this is how you can do a little bit of here and there in your data before bringing the data into Power BI. If not, if you don't want to do that, you can directly click on load and your data will be there. Now, one thing here, if you see, this is applied steps. So, and I changed the type, it came here. I changed it to uppercase, it came here. So all the steps you'll be doing in the transformation, it will come here step by step. Now I'm done with the transformation. I don't want to change anymore. I'll go here and say close and apply. So when I say apply means whatever changes I have done, please apply those changes to my data and then bring the data to Power BI. Now you'll see it sometimes takes a bit time to load the data. So now what it is doing is it is creating a connection between the Excel and Power BI, and it has loaded the data. Now, wow, we are done with the first step. Congratulations. So if you see here, earlier there was nothing in this data tab. Now there is a table, let's say, financials, and these are all the columns that are there, that were there in my data, and now they are coming here. Now, if many of you have noticed, and if not, let me show you some very good feature. Again, a very good feature of Power BI. You see, there are different symbols in front of column names. There is a column called sales, but what is this summation symbol? So what Power BI has done here is, you bring in the data, I will make sure, or I will take care of the data type, which means all of the columns which are of type numeric, it has already identified that they are of column numeric, and it has added a symbol just to distinguish that, okay, these are numeric columns and these are non-numeric columns. There is a column called date. So it was of date time format. So it has added a symbol of a calendar, let's say, just to distinguish that it has a different data type. You did not have to go ahead and say that, okay, this is the data type, this is the data type. You just put your data in Excel, Power BI imports that data, and it automatically identifies what are the data types. Now, I'll quickly show you that whether the data you have got is the same data or not. So if you remember, I showed you this Excel. This was what my data looked like, and this is what it is here. So it's exactly the same data it has pulled in. Now, my first step of creating a dashboard is done. I have imported the data successfully. Now, what I would do now is I will jump on to creating dashboard. Now, how do we create a dashboard in Power BI? So here, if you see, there is a tab called visualization, and this would become the most useful tool for us when we are creating dashboards. So here, there are different options which are available. There are these bar charts, line charts, pie chart, tables, etc., etc. All of these are there. If you hover over one, you'll see what kind of chart it is. Now, suppose I want to create a bar chart, a simple bar chart. How would I create that? I don't need to do anything. Suppose this is the chart I want to create. I'll just click on it. On a single click, you got it here. Did you do anything? Did you write any piece of code for that? No. What you did is you just clicked on the particular visual that you wanted on your dashboard, and Power BI brought it here. Now, since we have not added any data in this visual, so it has nothing to show you. Now, let's say what I want to visualize is, I have a data of a company which is of financial type. I just want to see that from year to year, what has been the profit of this particular company. Now, if you see here, there is an x-axis, there are y-axis, and there are different fields which are associated with this. So what I would say is, let's say on the x-axis, I put the date. I'll just say drag and it will come here. So in order to bring in the value, you just have to drag it and put it here. On the y-axis, I would say I want to understand what is the profit. Now, I just added the data. Power BI created this visual with all the data it had, and now we are able to understand something. What is that something? That in the year 2013, the profit sum was around 3 million for this particular company. While in the year 2014, the sum of profit for this particular company was 13 million. How did we get that? Just by bringing in these two particular data from there. Now, let me make it more, let me just remove this and let me bring it again here. Now, I don't want so many things. I just want year on year. So now you would see not only for 2013 and 14, I am able to see for every month what has been the profit. So just from two column data that you had, one was profit and one was date. If I plot this into form of a visual like a bar chart, I am able to see what has been the profit and what has been the distribution. And this is what data visualization is. You bring in the data, you visualize it using different charts, and using Power BI, you can do this just by drag and drops and shifts. Okay. Now we have this visual. Let me do a bit beautification on this. So here, if you see, there is an icon which says format your visual. So there are so many options. So let's explore this. On the x-axis, I'll say I want it bold. You see, now all of these are bold. Same thing, I say title. I want to bold the title also. It has bold the word month. Same way I can do for y-axis. I'll just say title, bold the value. Sum of profit is now bold. So the different things that you can do to your visual. If you go to general, you will see that there is a title. I don't want to say sum of profit. I'll say profit. Now you see it is profit by year and month. So any such modification you can directly do here. I don't want it black color. I want it in blue color. It has changed to blue color. I want it in bold. I'll just say bold. It's a real time thing. You just do one change here and it will be directly reflected to the visual that you're creating. Okay, let me say I want a background. Your background is on. I want to say I want a background of blue color. I know color choice was not good, but just wanted to demonstrate you here that you can even add backgrounds to your visuals. I want a border. Now there is a border to your visual. So this is how you can do different things on just one visual, and you have direct options to do that. Now, this was just an example of creating one visual. Now, I have something very good to show you. What I did was I created a chart from profit and the date data that we had. Now, my mind has changed. I don't want to see the bar charts. I want to see a line chart. Will I go ahead and create a line chart again with all these things? No, I don't need to do that. Power BI will take care of it. I'll just click on this visual and I'll go ahead and I'll click on the line chart. That's done. Same data, all of things remain same. It's just that Power BI has transformed that bar chart into a line chart. So I just wanted to show you that from you can create a normal visual directly, and if you already have a visual, you can transform into another visual. Make sure that data makes sense. Okay. Now, this was my first visual. Now I'm able to understand that for my that the company I'm trying to understand, it has made profit and the profit value has fluctuated from 2013 to 2014, from high to low, from high to low. Okay. Now I would want to understand, and this is frankly my favorite visual because it helps me understand a lot of things, that the company is spread across the world. I want to understand which particular country or which particular city is where the profit is more, where the profit is less, and all of that. So if you see here, there is a visual called map. What I did, I clicked here and it has brought the map thing here directly, just aligning. Now this is the map visual available. Now for the map visual, what I want to add in the location is I have the data of, I have a column called country. I'll bring in here. So if you see here, what it has created a world map with columns of, sorry, with countries data. Now I want to see what is the profit for each of the country. So there is a column called sales. Also, there is a column called profit. I'll put this profit in the bubble size. Now let me just expand it a bit so that you'll be able to understand it better. Okay. Now what you see here is, this is the continent North America. If I click on it, you'll see Canada, this is the profit. Okay. This is Europe. Inside Europe, Germany, this is the profit. France, this is the profit. United States of America, this is the profit. And why do you see that there is a big bubble and there is a small bubble? The reason is, more the profit, more will be the bubble size, because this is what I have done. I have added in the bubble size, I have added sum of profit. So this is again a very good visual in Power BI. If you have a data like something like this, you have data related to places. So rather than making it a theoretical visual, we can directly add a map so that person can understand very well that, okay, this is where this country is and this is what the profit is. Now, for the same visual, I can do a lot of things. How? Again, I guess you already know now. Here is where we build the visual, and this particular format your visual is where you can beautify the visual you have. Now, there is an option called map settings. This is the road view of the map. Now, let me say I don't want a road view, I want an aerial view. You saw how beautiful this map has become. There are different options you can do that. Okay. Now I'll say bubbles. There is an option for you can say the bubble size. There is an option called category labels. It is off. If I on it, this France, Germany, Canada, and all of things that you were seeing on hovering, you can see it directly. I'm just keeping it off because I don't want a clumsy dashboard. So this is all you can do, and even there are like general settings. You can say effects, you can say title, you can say background, all of these things you can do. Also, there is an option. If you see what I'm doing, I'm just zooming in, zooming out. So it's a very good visual again by Power BI, where you can directly plot the data in terms of geographical locations, and you can easily visualize those. Now, this was my first, this was my second. Now, let me add a few more things in my dashboard. Now, again, the most famous and the most used visual in Power BI is bar charts, because it easily helps you to understand what exactly your data looks like and how is the data distributed. Now, what I would want to understand here is, okay, I'll bring in the, firstly, I clicked, it brought it here. I did not have to do anything. Now, I have a company. Let's say I'm understanding the data of a company. Let's understand that. So there might be different products that the company is selling. I want to understand what are the different products and what are the sales for each of the product. So here you would see there is a column directly product. I'll bring this product in the x-axis. I dragged it here. I have a column called sales. I'll bring it in the y-axis. Okay. So what you understand now? First thing I understand from this visual is that the company had 6 different products. These are named as, there are different tough names. I don't want to name it just to make fun of me. Otherwise, there are 6 different products the company sells. Now, for all of these 6 different products, the sales is very different. You will see that for the first product, sales is around 33 million, while for the last product, sales is around 13 million. So, just by bringing in the product and the sales information into the bar chart, you are able to understand what exactly is the distribution of sales among the different products a company sells. I can do so many things into this. Maybe I would want to understand that what is the segment of the product. In the same visual, if I go ahead and I add, okay, there is a column called segment. I'll add it in the legend. Now, what do you see here? Let me expand it. Okay, there were 6 different products. We knew that. Now, out of these 6 different products, for each product, there are different segments. There is a channel partner, enterprise, government, mid market, small business. So these are the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different segments a company deals in. So for a particular product, I want to visualize which is the segment which is the most profitable for a given company. I just added the segment data into the legend, and now I have more information. I know that for this particular product, which is Passio, government segment is the one that is generating most of the sales. So if you want more precise information, you can add more number of columns into the legend and you'll get more data. So same bar chart, but here I see many different data, like many information. Firstly, I understand which is the most profitable product for my company and which is the least profitable product, which is cart area. Then second thing I understand by bringing in the segment data is government segment is the segment which is the most profitable segment for my company. So these two information I get directly from this particular bar chart. Now, again, there is a very common visual that me and you use usually. Before that, I'll just show you that we can format this also. Let's say I want to say, one second, on the general, I'll go and say effects. I'll say there should be a border and there should be shadows. I just like to add shadows. So here, if you see, now this particular visual is being separated from your outer dashboard using this particular border. Okay. Now, the visual I was talking about, you, me deal with tables every day, right? You might ask me one question is, in order to get away from tables, we came to Power BI. Now, why do we need table again? So when you have a big dashboard, which you want to show your customer, maybe show to the business, There might be some situations where you have to bring in a table data all the time. Again, Power BI has made things easy for you. There is a option called table. I'll click on this and a table will be created. Now, what I want to see is maybe I have this product. I'll say product is one column. I have six different products. I'll be able to see that. Again, I'll say segment should also be a column. So it will give me the product and the segment distribution. Then I would want to see what is the unit sold. I'll bring it this. So it's not a hard and fast rule that I need to do this. But if you see here, right, I can do a lot of modifications on this and I'll make it more beautiful. But yeah, that depends on you totally. If you want to do this, you're totally, Power BI allows you to do that. Otherwise, this is what your table looks like. I'm just beautifying this. Okay. If you see one thing, it has already done the summation for you. Sum of units sold. So for each product, what is the segment and what is the sum of units sold? It has already done the summation for you. Because if you see here, there was a unit sold column. There was no summation of units sold column. When I brought it here, it automatically did the sum of that. Again, very good feature of Power BI. So here we added four different visuals in Power BI. One was a map, second is a line chart, this is a bar chart, this is a table. One thing I would like to mention here is that these are not just different four visuals you can make in Power BI, because I could accommodate only four in my dashboard. So I showed you that there are so many different visuals that you can make in Power BI. Now let me show you how we can play with this data. Now, I now understand that for the company I am understanding, it has data for 2013 and 2014. This is the profit for this year. This is the profit by country. This is the profit by product. And this is the number of units sold as per the product. Now, I don't want to see 2013 data and 2014 data both. Maybe I just want to see what is the 2014 result. I want to slice my dashboard. Now, will I go ahead and transform my data and say that, okay, I'll filter out the data for 2014 and then I'll create this dashboard again? No, you don't need to do that. I can directly go ahead and add a slicer. How do I do that? See, here is a slicer option. So this is a slicer and there's a column called year. I already have that. I'll bring in the year here. Okay, maybe I want to beautify it and I'll say slicer settings and I'll give it a vertical list. So if your data had more number of years, all the years would have come here. Our data only has 2 years, so 2014 and 2013 came in here. Now let me just make it look better. I'll place this here at the top. I'll make it a bit shorter. I'm just doing this thing so that it looks beautiful. Okay. Now, if you see, I have a slicer, 2013 and 2014. These are the two different years slicer I have. Now, what I can do is I'll click on 2014. If you see your data got changed, now all the things that you see on your dashboard is only associated with 2014 year data. Similarly, if I say not 2014, only 2013. Now all the visuals get changed for 2013. If you see a significant difference, you would see when I have all the data, you would see this is the highest bubble and this is the second highest. France is performing second highest. But when I say 2013, you would see that France sales has dropped drastically. It hasn't performed that well in 2013. While when I say 2014, I see 2014 France has performed extremely well as compared to other countries. My point is not to tell you how France is performing or how any other country is not performing, but my point here is to tell you that if I have a filter on which I want to filter all the visuals I've created on the dashboard, from a line chart to bar chart to maps to tables, it get filtered with that slicer. So this is a very, very useful tool that we normally use. I've given you example of here. You can maybe do different slicings on the different data that you have. All the visuals will get directly impacted with the slicer you add. Now, just lastly, maybe because this is my habit, I just want to name my dashboard so that you would able to understand what we are doing. Okay, let me just say 20. What I did is I clicked on text box and I added this thing. So it is just a text box because this is a it's a string that we need to create. I'll put it here. 1 second. Yeah. Okay. That's it. So this is how my dashboard would look like. Now, let me come back to the question I asked you initially. Remember, this is what your data had. Same data. You have segment, you have country, you have product, you have units sold, you have sales data, you have year data. I'm asking you 5 different questions. Okay, tell me which is the country for which sales is highest. I'm not telling you cannot do that on Excel. You can do different summations, you can apply different formulas, and you'll be able to get it. My second question is, in which year, in which in which year, on which particular month sales was highest? Maybe again you have to do a lot of calculations, and you'll not be able to do that directly on Excel. You may or may not be as per your expertise. Now, from the same data, I am a data analyst and I created this thing. Now, the question is on you. You are a person, let's consider that you as in the user is from non-IT background, is a non-technical person who does not understand the technicalities. Even if you are coming from a non-IT background, if I show you this dashboard and if I give you that, okay, you can go ahead and filter and all of these things, you'll be able to get so many information from just this piece of dashboard as per the company's financial report. Everything that a company has in its financial report, you'll be able to understand from depth. And even you can do a lot of toggling and everything to get more information, hidden information. That's the beauty of Power BI, and that's the power of data visualization. And that is why learning Power BI is very easy. I guess you would have already seen that, and extremely important if you are aiming to become a data analyst. So that's what I would say. That's supposed to be a half an hour session. I'm thinking I completed on time. Back to you, IJ.
Uh, Thank you so much, Shailja. That was just amazing, right? We could actually get to learn a lot, right? And I definitely agree. It was actually very simple, basically learning how to process a Power BI dashboard in the first 30 minutes. I think within the first 30 minutes, at least a good 30%, 40% of the people were actually able to learn some parts of it. I was actually following, trying to do some parts of it, and that was actually great. Thank you so much for that. But here, Shalja, I will also want to discuss what I understand here is together to be able to become, let's say, we are talking about becoming a data analyst here. To be able to become a data analyst, Power BI serves as a very essential skill. But apart from Power BI, what are the other skills that we need to make sure we are aware of? Shalja, can you hear me? Guys, am I audible to you? Please confirm.
Hey, so sorry. The
That's perfectly okay. That's perfectly
weather
okay.
is
That's
weather
perfectly
is playing very nicely in Bangalore today. So yeah.
okay. Oh, it must. It is a nice weather. That's very good. That's absolutely amazing. That's absolutely amazing. That's great. Right.
Okay.
So, Shailja, I was just wanting
Hmm.
to ask. So, this definitely is an amazing skill to learn for people who are looking at maybe becoming a data analyst or who are just looking at working around with numbers on an everyday basis. This is an amazing skill. But let's say I plan to become a data analyst. Along with learning Power BI, what are the other tools that I should necessarily, keep as a part of my routine?
Okay, sure. I would say the most important question for the folks who are attending this webinar. So if you are
Okay.
someone who is aiming to become a data analyst, Power BI is a very important skill, but alone Power BI cannot make you a data analyst. That's a
Okay.
hard truth, but yes, it is. So if you would
Okay.
ask me what are the things that a person needs to learn to become a data analyst is, first is you need to have understanding of one programming language. And when I say
Okay.
one programming language, Python is the most preferred language for companies and for like the work we do in data domain. So you
Okay.
need to understand Python, not from lens of learning a new language and doing a hardcore geeky kind of coding, but you have to understand Python from the lens of a data person. Like how would you use Python libraries to get the data, to transform the data, and all of this. So
Okay.
learning a language is the first thing. Python is the preferred one. Second is SQL. I may have
Okay.
repeated this thing 100 times, but yeah, I'm
Huh.
repeating it again just to
Okay.
emphasize that SQL is the bread and butter of data domain.
Okay.
It remains the most important skill above any other skill. So you should learn SQL very thoroughly. Second is
Okay.
SQL. Then comes statistics. So whenever
Okay.
I use this term, people they're like, okay, I'm done. I cannot learn statistics because it's core mathematics. So one thing
Uh-huh.
is, when I say statistics, I'm not saying you to learn core mathematics. Basic understanding of statistical concepts is being expected from you because you have to analyze the data. And understanding the data requires a bit understanding of statistics. So just that is what is expected from you. And lastly, maybe last half an hour, I'm talking about that how important it is to know Power BI and different visualization tool, so that
Uh-huh.
all
Uh-huh.
of your learnings will be useful until you create a dashboard. So all of these, plus you need to have a good project. Otherwise, all of this will become a theoretical knowledge for you. So that is the
Exactly.
important skill set required to become a data analyst.
Amazing, Shailja. What we normally see here is so the kind of people that we are catering to here are normally people that we start from scratch. So for people who are not from a coding background, so for example, when you started, you were by default from a computer science background. So you've already emphasized on this, but I would want to put a little extra emphasis. So for people who are not from a coding background, right? Is it possible for them to take up data analyst as a career? People, let's say, who have already spent around 2 years, 3 years, 5 years into different professions and now want to move towards this.
Direct answer, yes. Explanation is, I would say, if you are someone who wants to make into IT, this is the best and the easy route to enter. Because if you are
Okay.
a non-IT person, if you want to enter into IT, by coding is something everyone fears because they are
Mhm.
out of their domain, I would say. But when
Okay.
we talk about data analyst role, here it's not only about coding, coding, and coding. You're not going to be
Uh-huh.
an engineer proper kind of thing. Here,
Mhm.
the more emphasis is on analysis. That is why you see right in the skill set. It was not only Python, it was Power BI, it was SQL, and all of these things. So, if,
Okay.
answering to your question is someone coming from a different domain. That might sound hypothetical because I am from a computer science background, but I have seen a lot of examples of people who have made very big in the industry, coming from a
Okay.
very different domain, learning skills which are required, and then
Okay.
cracking very good roles. So, yeah, just a reminder, you can do that.
Perfect. That sounds amazing. Just to guys to help you understand how do we do that, we have a one-on-one mentor support system and an 80% practice-based learning platform wherein you do something and that is how you learn because we feel theory is not enough. When you put in enough of work, you do enough of projects, just like Shailja said, that's how you basically go ahead and do things. And for that matter, 10 portfolio projects is what we talk about, right? Along with the portfolio project, we have a live simulation of the work that you would do as a data analyst. And that is how you learn, and that is basically how you apply your skills, and that is how you become confident on making sure that you would be placed and do things across. Now, guys, we'll want to remind you once again on a chance to win a free course. People who, for the learners staying here, people who stay towards the end, we'll pick one out of you. So please, you'll find the link right there on your chat box. Go ahead and register. This would be a completely free course, completely free of cost into a job guarantee batch starting the very next week. All the best. Right. Now, coming to the most important part, Shailja, I think most of the people want to move to IT and data analysis, data science, because it promises an amazing, income source, or let's say amazing salaries, 50s, 70s, LPAs. What do you, I mean, so please give us a little insight into it as to how does it work.
Okay, sure. And that's a very true thing. And also a wrong thing, I would say, because everyone is
Okay.
going towards data domain just looking at the salary structure that it has to offer, and there is no false information about that. The
Okay.
reason is that more companies are moving. Every company now is moving towards data because they want to make decisions which are powered by data driven decisions, because that's how their revenue grows and their financials grows. So that is why companies are moving towards data, and that is the need of the hour. So they are hiring more and more data analysts, data engineers, data scientists, and that's why you'll see that such a high packages are being offered in this particular domain. But yeah,
Okay.
I would say that that's very true. Like if I talk about the visuals that I see on the screen right now, I think these are very correct numbers. Even I would say it's a low ball kind of number. Even much
Okay.
higher numbers are being offered to even freshers and going
Okay.
exponentially to higher levels.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, 6 to 7 LPA as a fresher going into data domain is someone can expect very very easily. You just
Okay.
need to have the relevant skills. You just need to crack the interview with
Mhm.
with flying colors is what we say. And then
Mhm.
it's not a big thing to crack such numbers. Even much more than that, you would see so many, like you said, right,
Got it.
so many people
Got it.
quoting. That's not wrong. People are getting these numbers because they are able to show their skills in the interview, and companies are looking for those.
Amazing, amazing. Shailja, I just get two questions here. When you
Mhm.
say people, companies are basically looking at you, tracking that interviews in flying colors, what do you mean? What are these companies looking at specifically?
Okay. Again, very nice question. So when I say I've seen a lot of people having a lot of skills, but
Okay.
I have the common thing I hear from them is I have all the skills, but I'm not able to clear the interview. So that
Okay.
is what I say, that what you have and what companies are looking for may not be on the same platform. As in, like suppose I want to become a data analyst and I go ahead and learn Python, SQL, Power BI, all of these things, right? But I don't
Okay.
have a project to showcase all my skills. So all
Hmm.
of these skills are just skills. These are just the theoretical knowledge I have. And we
Okay.
are talking about IT industry where hands-on is everything. That's our work. That's our day-to-day
Hmm.
work. So until you have some hands-on to show the interviewer and talk about that and justify your work,
Hmm.
interviews won't even like think of considering you in the interviews. Maybe not,
Okay.
at least for the final rounds. So when
Okay.
I say that please be prepared for what companies are expecting is, look out for what companies are looking for a
Okay.
particular role that you are applying for. Do you have the relevant skills or not? If you have the
Okay.
relevant skills, do you have the relevant projects or not? And I would say the top of all of these, do you have a good resume to back all of
Okay.
the skills and projects you have or not? And
Okay.
lastly, do you have the right communication skills and mindset to go and tell
Hmm.
the interviewers, like, see, I have so many things to bring to your company, will you hire me or not? So
Okay.
I think
Got
these
it.
summarizes the overall thing that company expects and we should give, kind of thing.
Amazing. So when you been perfectly said. So a lot of people, a lot of learners have this very frequent questions because we get to talk to a lot of learners on a daily basis. That why will a company prefer me over someone who has a computer science degree? How do you look into that?
Actually, frankly, this is a very true question. And
Okay.
I would say there are a few companies who put this restriction, but times are very changed now. Companies
Okay.
are not hiring you for your degree, for your CGPA in college, at least if you are someone experienced. But
Okay.
if you are someone who have the right set of skills, it doesn't matter if
Okay.
you're a non-comp science student. if
Hmm.
i if I'm tested on my Python skills, SQL skills, Power BI skills, then that doesn't matter if I'm a computer science graduate or not. If I have those equal
Okay.
skills which other person also has, I don't think the company would differentiate in that case, because that's clearly
So
mentioned in the job description.
when
That
looking at my resume, they would look at my projects rather than my graduation.
always on top.
Okay, makes a lot of sense. Now, a third and a very major question, Shailja, that I would want. I'm just utilizing my lifelines to basically ask most of the questions here, right? There are a lot of learners that come to us who are already at a salary of 10, 12, 12.5, and they're a little fearful. Will we have to start off again at 6, 6, 7? Your views around that?
That is, I would say, that is one of the tough things to face, because what
Okay,
happens is, suppose I'm coming from a different domain. I
okay,
have like 5 years of experience, so on a good pay scale, and then I'm switching to data domain. I
okay,
would surely be considered as a fresher.
okay,
Fresher is not only about years of experience. Fresher is about your experience in that particular domain that you are entering into. So for data
okay,
science, you will be a fresher, or for a data analyst, you will be a fresher. But one thing is, it is something you don't need to fear. If you have the relevant
okay,
skills, you can quote to the HR before even starting the interview process that this is my current salary. I am not a fresher, as in I'm not just starting earning. I'm already earning this much amount. So I
okay,
expect to get up this percent hike from the current salary I have. You can state
okay.
things very clearly. So,
Mhm.
but yeah, you'll be considered as freshers. Even freshers are hired, are given so good numbers. So I don't think that should be a problem.
Okay, so if I segment it out, first have the necessary skills and the projects, thereafter have an amazing, communication skills to present it out, and thereafter when you put it out, you clear your interviews well, you can definitely go ahead and negotiate something above what you're currently getting.
Totally agree. I have heard and read this line many a times, and I would like to tell this to everyone out there, that if you
Uh-huh.
think you are the one who is searching this job, also know that there is a company who is looking for someone good to fill in a position. So don't
Okay.
always think that if I'll something will happen. Don't reject yourself You let the company
Yeah,
reject
don't
you.
yeah, don't auto reject yourself without even applying to it.
Correct.
Right, right. So do you actually prefer? So there are a lot of companies that write they need 4 years of experience, 6 years of experience. Do they only shortlist people with that relevant kind of experience, or they are looking at your skills only? So when they say
This
years, it is skills.
No, there is a combination, but I've seen a lot
Okay,
of people self-rejecting themselves because they do not fit in exactly the criteria which is mentioned in the job description. And I've
okay,
said this thing multiple times, and I'm giving my example itself in that case.
okay.
Have the relevant skills, and do not think that okay, if company is looking for 1 to 3 year of experience, sorry, 2 to 3 year of experience, and I have 1.5 and 1.8 years of experience, so I'm not fitting exactly into that criteria, so
Mhm.
companies will not select me. But
Okay,
having said that, it doesn't mean that company is hiring for a 6 plus years of experience role and I'm 1.5 and I'll go and apply because I'm very
uh
confident,
huh.
positive. So
Okay,
you should understand that this is what they are hiring for: junior level, mid level, higher level. If your
uh huh.
qualification is 50 to 60% is what we consider as a normal ratio, that 50 to
Hmm.
60% of your skills is matching is what they are looking for, and you somewhere stand between what they are expecting and you are somewhere
Okay.
around that, go ahead and apply. No one will reject you without even applying, right? You have to apply.
Got it. So yeah, definitely you will have to take the first step without auto rejecting yourself, and that's the way going forward. That's amazing, Shailja. Thank you, guys. Just wanted to talk a little about how long does it take to become a data analyst. So a lot of people think that you require 10 years of work. You need to be a PhD to get into the data fields. Which I think Shailja, a lot of people do ask you, is it important to go ahead for post graduation to become a data scientist? Is that the
I,
case?
I, I do hear a lot of questions, and my only answer is I'm not sure it is or not, but I haven't done. So, yeah.
Okay, and you see a lot of people who aren't postgraduates and PhDs and are still working in data science and data analysis and are doing really well.
Yes, yes. There are a lot of examples, including me, that
Okay.
obviously having more education is not something that will be harmful, but considering
Uh-huh.
that to be the root cause or the only condition on which you'll be getting into this domain is also not true.
Got it. Got it. So, okay. So, do not require a lot of advanced degrees in a short amount of time. You can basically hone enough skills to basically become a data analyst. So, amazingly, here at Coding Invaders, we offer you something of a 6.5 months of a program wherein we teach you the relevant skills along with career grooming and a lot of projects. And we offer you an on paper job guarantee. So, yes, that's a good way of how you become a data analyst. How do we do that? Just like I said, it's 80% real practice, 10 plus real projects, one on one mentorship, and points of time when you need help, you have one on one video calls available. You get to do a lot of teamwork like real life data scientists and data analysts. And there is 100% job guarantee, and that too comes on a paper. I mean, so we give you an on paper written job guarantee. Going forward and talking, I would want to remind the people again, I would want to remind the learners again, there's this amazing opportunity to have this course completely free of cost for one of you people who stay till the end. You can actually win the course completely free of cost, and people who are not lucky enough, you're lucky enough to have an amazing 35% discount. So something which is available at 11,500, you get at just 7,490. Please go ahead and apply. Right? I know you'll have a lot of questions. We'll go ahead and discuss. Moving on. So, Shailja, here, I and my team, Manoj and Nick here, have helped me accumulate a few questions. I would pick up a few questions before we can, with the limited time that you have, right? And basically, we'll go ahead and answer. I'll pick up the most popular questions so that I can answer most of the queries here. So, this is
Sure.
a question from Satish. What are the skills you had while you were attending the Microsoft interview?
I guess best question I heard in a Q&A till now. But yeah,
Okay.
very nice question. This
Uh-huh.
gives a lot of idea to people who are preparing. But when I
Uh-huh.
was giving Microsoft's interview, my main
Mm-hmm.
job, I would say my main tech stack was data engineering. I
Mm-hmm.
had nearly 2 years of experience working on Azure Cloud with real-time projects with multiple different Fortune 500 clients, with Azure Databricks, Data Factory, Data Lake, Spark, Python. All of these was the top of my skills, which I used to promote while interviewing with other companies. Along with
Okay.
that, data science was another different niche which I
Mm-hmm.
had in my resume because during my college time itself, I had interest in NLP. So from there itself, I started learning data science. That was something that was a kind of sidekick that that I was used to doing from the college time. So overall, my tech stack was a mix of data engineering as well as data science, and that's why
Okay.
I am a data and applied scientist at Microsoft, which is again a mix of both of these.
Perfect. Perfect. Now, I think the next question comes in from Karthik. Thank you so much for that, Shailja. The next question comes in from Karthik. I mean, I think this is one of the very trending questions, which says, what's the difference between Tableau and Power BI?
Again, right. That's a very trending question. People ask that why should we learn either of these? I would say
Uh-huh.
let's not go into the specificity of what these two are in terms of differences or which one should we learn or not. Overall, you should understand that when we have to do that when we have to create different dashboards, when we have to perform
Uh-huh.
dashboarding, we can go with either of these tools. It's just that
Okay.
frankly, I have used Power BI more, so I know what goods are there for Power BI. Overall, if you see that the basic features are common in Tableau as well as in Power BI. But Power
Okay.
BI has so many more features to offer when it comes to Tableau. That is why I always say if you are someone who is starting, why not to
Mhm.
go for something that covers everything than to something which has lesser features? So connectivity to different
Makes a
different
lot of sense.
databases, to different data sources. Power BI has so many connections and so many extra features than Tableau. That is why everyone prefers Power BI. Otherwise,
Makes
underlying feature on both of them are same.
basically. Got it. Understood. Thank you, Shailja, for that. I'll come to something which is more towards what the webinar was around. So this is a question from Priya Suresh. Ma'am, is it really necessary to clean the data before importing it into Power BI?
See, if your data is not clean,
Mhm.
there is a very common saying in data: you cannot do any kind of visualization or you cannot understand the data until it is a clean data. So
Okay.
I have not performed data cleaning. Just to
Okay.
mention here is you cannot perform data cleaning as such in Power BI. That
Mhm.
you need to do beforehand. Power BI is considered as the last step of our overall data domain process. What we
Okay.
can do in Power BI is you can transform the data. There is a difference between
Okay.
cleaning the data and transforming the data. And like
Okay.
I told already, you have the option to do that. You have the option to not do that. You can directly load the
Okay.
data or you can load the transformed data in Power BI. It
Okay.
gives you both the features. But we are not doing data cleaning in Power BI, just FYI.
Got it. Got it. Thank you so much. Thank you. I would ask this. I mean, this question kept repeating itself, Shailja, so I'll ask it for once. This is a question from Deepali Chaudhary. She asks, "Hi, ma'am. I'm a fresher from a non-technical background, working as a maths teacher from last 10 years. Wanted to switch my career, right? Can I? I mean, switch my career into IT. Can I?" That's the same question I was asking you, but yeah.
See, it might happen that you're coming from a different background. It might happen that age is a restriction, background is a restriction, gender is a restriction, all of that thing. I won't say it will be all be very easy for you because you said you have 10 years of experience in a very different domain. So obviously things would be tougher for you because you have to prove yourself more hardly than any other person who is already in this domain or who has a lesser experience.
Okay.
But yeah, you can do that. You can do that for sure. And I've been repeating that multiple times. In order to come into data domain, the most important necessary skill is to have those skills. After that, all of these things come in, whether you are from the right age, you are the right background, and all of these things.
So skills first. Skills first.
Always.
Okay, got it. Now, a similar set of questions, Shaila. Thank you so much for the last one. This is a question from Simran. I am a CA. Is Will this kind of courses be useful for me?
I think I just get to interact with CAs when it's the end of the year. But yeah, what I can tell very clearly here is I talked about financial dashboards, right? I think CAs
Uh-huh,
are the people who actually are the people who deal with so many numbers. So
uh-huh.
whenever we are dealing with numbers, these things can be very helpful to understand the hidden information behind that. So I think yes,
Okay,
totally yes. In your particular domain, is it's a very I would say best application of data analytics.
okay, okay. Makes sense. Makes sense. Got it. So I'll come back to the webinar now. Now, this is the last three questions that I asked you. So the third last question for that matter. I would come back to the webinar answering a few questions, technical questions here. This is a question from Karishma. How to sign in into Power BI and what kind of email it needs, because it does not work on my work email and it is not accepting my personal email ID to sign in as well.
Firstly, you don't need to sign if you
Okay.
because Microsoft is see obviously you cannot directly do. You have to create a Microsoft account and you have to log in through your Microsoft account. Only then
Mm-hmm.
you'll be able to log in. But if
Mm-hmm.
you want to try on some very small things, You don't even need to sign in, and you can directly do. Like I said, you will be doing in a very restrictive way because many
Okay.
features gets unlocked until you sign in. But yeah, normal dashboarding skills, if you want to learn, you can directly do that without even signing in. And if you want to sign
Okay.
in, you have to have a Microsoft account to do that.
Okay. Okay. Perfectly. Makes sense. Around with that, the second last question for that matter. These are the best questions that I found there. So this is a question from Priya Suresh. What is the difference between report and dashboard? Is it necessary to clean the data before loading the data into the Power BI to create visuals? So cleaning of the data is what you answered previously. Now, difference between report and dashboard is what we would like to hear from you.
If we consider it in the form of a Venn diagram, right? Dashboard is the outer
Okay.
circle, report is an inner circle. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
dashboard can comprise of multiple reports.
Okay.
So I showed you one report. Okay, I
Mm-hmm.
called it a dashboard because that only had one report. But I can have, like the Excel has multiple sheets, right? Same way, my dashboard can have multiple different reports into that. So
Okay.
that's the nomenclature we follow normally. The dashboard is a generic name, and reports can be specific pages that we talk about in Power BI.
Got got it. Got it. Now, coming towards the last question, Shailja, with your amazing time that you have given us. So I'll combine a few questions which are almost similar. So these are questions from Chandu,
Mhm.
Nita, right? Can I get a full-time or internship as a fresher, or is coding a mandatory skill for data analysis? So, so let's say someone is a fresher and they're wanting to move into data analysis. Should they look at a full-time job or an internship initially? That would be the first part of my question. And is coding a mandatory skill for being a data analyst?
Okay. Answering to your first question is that depends. See, I have seen a lot of people who are not able to prove themselves, prove in the interview about their experience using their projects. So they choose to go for an internship to have a good experience kind of thing that which they can add in their resume and then look out for a full time job. My
Got it.
suggestion, I would say, always look out for a full-time job. In that process, if you are not able to crack any, and if you are able to get an internship role, you can go ahead for that. But try to get for a full-time job because that is the end goal. You want to reach where
Mhm.
you want to take that ladder or not depends on your skill.
Okay.
But yeah, the
Got it.
second question you asked was, can you repeat that?
Is no problem. I'll repeat it for you. So the second part of the question was: is coding a mandatory skill to become a data
See, there are two ways to answer this question. When we say
analyst?
mandatory, it is not, it is like you cannot miss coding while you are preparing for a data analyst role. But
Mm-hmm.
again, you don't need to learn because I've seen people whenever we talk about IT, I need to prepare coding.
Correct.
That's not the
Yes.
case. And specifically for data analyst role, that's the good thing
Uh-huh.
about it. There are multiple different things you need to focus, not necessarily coding. Coding is just a part of it. So when I
Okay.
say just a part of it, even just a knowledge of it would work.
Okay.
Not completely, but not even nothing. So stand in middle
Okay.
of that.
Got it. Got it. So that's the most important part. Perfectly, Shelja. That was a lot of questions answered for me as most of the learner. I feel there's no end to the number of questions that keep coming in, but I think we've been trying to cover as much as possible. Thank you so much for your time, and thank you so much for all the knowledge that we have received today in terms of creating our first dashboard. Indeed, it was the first, quickest, and the simplest dashboard that we have gone through. Thank you so much for that, and thank you so
Thank
much
you
for
so
your
much
time.
for having me here,
Have a
and
very good evening.
that was a pleasure, I would say, to interact with so many audience and able to answer such questions for people to come into data domain.
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
Thank you.
Any parting set of words for the learners who are still here?
I always say that, I'll repeat that again. Maybe I said that already. First of all, have that confidence that you can make it. If we
Mm-hmm.
self reject ourselves, at least leave it for the company you are applying for that they will reject me.
Okay.
So
Uh-huh.
don't hesitate to apply, don't hesitate to learn, and don't hesitate to fall or fail, I would
Got
say,
it.
either of that.
Uh-huh.
You'll reach
Uh-huh.
there, not directly, maybe indirectly, maybe taking some time, but do not stop thinking that you'll not be able to make it.
Amazing. Perfect. Perfect. Thank you so much. That would mean a lot, and that would be a lot of motivation to a lot of us. Thank you so much,
Thank you.
Shelja.
Thank you so much. Bye bye.
Good to have you here. Looking forward to having you again.
Happily.
Sure. Thank you. Guys, that was Shailja, uh, an applied data scientist from Microsoft. I'm very sure she must have answered a lot of questions, and for a lot of us, this was the first basic introduction to Power BI and what Power BI can contribute to. Right. Moving on, just like I said, just like I promised, for one of you who stays toward the end of the webinar, you will have this chance of winning a completely free course into a job guarantee batch starting next week. For people who do not win that, you have an amazing offer, a 35% flat discount on which you can basically go ahead and enroll into the same course and save a lot of money while you're into a job guarantee batch. So yeah, I'll be quickly taking up a few questions. We are also going to get a participation certificate after this webinar. Yes, I'll talk about it. I would tell you how do you get it. Let me move on. Right, guys, I'll still suggest please go ahead and register yourself for the free course. For people who do not win free course, you still would be eligible for the amazing 35% discount. Right, right. I know you'll have a lot of questions. You can connect with our consultants one-on-one and ask all your questions. Go ahead and do it. Please go ahead and apply onto it as fast as possible. And thereafter, we'll actually be able to discuss with you your problems and all your questions one-on-one. Right? Guys, let me help you understand how do we help you make sure that you get a job. Here, it's not a theoretical based approach. We do not give you live recorded classes. It's completely live. The classes that you take up is completely live. You get a one-on-one personal mentor the same way as you would happen in the industry. So basically, we believe you applying everything that you learn on real-time skills, on real-time problems, and that is how you go ahead. The projects that you work on are industry relevant projects and have been created by people and professionals from companies like Philips, companies like Infosys, Meta, and etc. Right? I've used a few pictures, so that is how live and vibrant our sessions are, and that is how you catch up with your team. So when you work as a data analyst or a data scientist, right, you get a lot of team. So you do not work all alone. You get to work in a lot of team. We give you a lot of team projects to work on that helps you simulate the very same kind of situation and environment on which you would be working on while you go ahead and start working. So we basically try and simulate the very same environment here, right? And that too, you get to learn with amazing mentors, people who connect with you one-on-one, people who have the relevant industry skills, right? People like Ravindra, Chitranjan, Ashish, and many more that we could not add to the slide, and many more here, right? What do you get along with a personal mentor? You get extra practical sessions. You get 7 days week access to chats. That is 12, 14 into 7 kind of an access to chats. You get unlimited one-on-one calls depending on what you require. Where do you require help? Can you exactly? So there's this question from Praveen. Can you say exactly who are the educators for this course? Praveen, these are people. These are people who have been into the industry, have relevant set of skills, and exactly have worked into the same things that you want to achieve. So these are basically people who have the experience, 5 years, 6 years of experience, working as a data analyst into multiple companies across India. So Bhushan Sinde asks, job guarantee only when you have a degree in your hand. Yes, that is one of the minimum eligibilities, that you should have a degree in your hand to become eligible for the job guarantee. Even if you're not available for job guarantee, we would still help you with job assistance. We'll expose you to freelancing websites, and that is how you move on. How do we work across? So we have 2 live sessions across the week, plus a lot of group webinars in the evenings and on weekends, right? Plus a lot of projects for you to take up and a lot of one-on-one help available for you to complete those projects, right? How do we study? We have a lot of group projects. We have modules on LMS. LMS is mostly like a simulator wherein we simulate real life situations. You have exams, interactive webinars. So just to give you a little idea, around 2 months ago, we had an HR coming in from Uber who was basically interested in hiring in from the company, from our institute. And so you have a lot of informative webinars from HRs and industry professionals so that you know does the other side of things look like. Pradeep, you can very well register up. We will get in touch with you. One of our consultants will get in touch with you and we'll help you go ahead with it. We'll answer all your questions. What does the curriculum include? It includes Google Sheets. It includes SQL, statistics, Power BI, and Python. The most important part, we have a dedicated career development team which helps you prepare your resume, your your mock interviews, They'll help you with your LinkedIn profile. We'll help you set up a GitHub profile. We'll expose you to freelancing websites. And that's how we make sure that you're future ready. Right? Guys, one final announcement to this. Right? If you're still looking at applying for the course, you still have a chance to win it completely free of cost. Go ahead and apply. I'll be here for the last 30 seconds, and thereafter we'll go ahead and announce the results. Just the last 30 seconds, guys. We're waiting for you. Just the last 30 seconds for you to go ahead and start with it. Right? I would also tell you how would we select our webinar user, the webinar winner. We'll make sure we have a random number generator, and we'll make sure we generate a random number. I'll show you how does it work. Right? In the meanwhile, let me show you. Right? So guys, your last set of chances to make sure that you win for this. Even if you're not winning it for it, you still have an amazing discount to go ahead. But remember that discount only works for the next 24 hours. So if you can see my screen, I'll basically show you. When I click onto this basically generates a random number, right? So it generates 99. I click on it again. This generates 41. I click on it again. This generates 36. Now, coming back to the sheet, I'll show you the sheet, right? If I see it correctly, we have a whopping 351 people who have registered, right? So let's go ahead and make sure that we find may the best win, right? All the best. And here we go. 3, 2, 1. That's amazing. We have got number 75, who is the winner to this. Going forward and finding number 75 here. Congratulations, Satadru. Hi, Satadru. I hope you're still here. Congratulations. Congratulations. I hope you're still here. Satadru, can we hear from you? Congratulations, Satadru, on winning this free course. You would shortly receive a call from our executives, from our consultants. Please make sure you don't miss out on that call, and you would be a part of a completely free on-paper job guarantee program, completely free of cost, just like I promised. For people who could not, learners who could not win, please do not lose out. Please do not feel demotivated. We still have an amazing offer for you to go forward. I know you'll have a lot of questions. Let's register yourself and let me answer your questions. Right? So Tadru, congratulations again and very well done. Yeah. So Tadru, you're here. Amazing, amazing. Congratulations. You'll receive a call from from our consultants to buy today or tomorrow max. Please make sure you pick up that one. Please make sure you do that. Right? Guys, talking a little about the course for students here, for learners here who could not win this, right? Please go ahead and register yourself. You still have this chance of availing this amazing 35% discount. You will just get it at 7,500 EMI per month, and amazing. And this is an amazing offer. Looking at the kind of offer that you basically go ahead with, right? So this is an investment of approximately 95K. Post which you start with jobs which are minimum of 5-6 LP at minimum, and that too for a fresher, right? That would be amazing. Talking a little about, and you don't need to worry, so you don't need to put up the entire fees at once. We have no cost EMI offers, right? Wherein you do not pay any interest, so you can basically go ahead and pay for the fees for the complete program month on month basis. Let's say you bring in another friend of yours. It's always good. What I normally believe is it is always good, right, to study along with a friend, an accountability partner. So if you get in your friend enrolled, you would have an additional 5,000 rupees off on this program. You and your friend both will have an additional 5,000 rupees off on that amazing 35% discount that we have been talking about, right? And now, talking about how do you win a certificate for the course. So here we would write on your chat box. We will send you out a link. We would want you to comment about what did you feel about the webinar, given your most honest feedbacks, right? Waiting for your most honest feedbacks. People who do write some kind of comments, please make sure you send a screenshot of that review or that comment please your honest feedbacks on info@codinginvaders.com. For people who do that, within the next 1 to 3 days, you will receive your certificate online. Right? You would receive your certificate online. I'll repeat, write your comments, write the most honest feedbacks that will help us improve and that will help us know what other things to include in our courses or in our webinars, right? And send us those reviews on info@codinginvaders.com and you'll get your certificates in 1 to 3 days, right? Thank you so much, guys. I'm sure most of you have registered. Looking forward to interacting with all of you one on one. Looking forward to answering all of your questions. I know there are a lot of questions that you have, a lot of things that you don't understand. So please register yourselves. Let's talk to you. Let's sort out all your questions and let's meet at the other end of things. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being a lovely audience. I hope I could answer most of your questions. I could connect with that. Looking forward to seeing you again. Thank you. Thank you so much.